Hey, what's going on, good people? It's your girl T Hardaway.
And it's Michael Bahsil.
Yeah, and we are the Did It for the Hood podcast.
Indeed.
Always. And we coming back again with that fire as we do as per usual. The wonderful guest we have today is a friend of mine. He's a practicing attorney in the state of Florida. He's a little bit of everything. He's a blue devil as well, but we don't hold that against him.
Ah,
Uh
Hey, listen. I thought we said we wasn't going to be starting no beef. Uh,
already started. Already started.
okay.
Shots fired, baby. Shots fired. But no. He's
It's all right. It's all right. It's all
he's a
right.
community leader.
Teflon. Teflon.
He's an activist, and he's gonna tell you more about himself. Y'all give it up for my guy Julien Maynard. Julien, how are you?
Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Thank you so much. Again, I just want to thank you so much for having me on the show. This is an honor. It's definitely a pleasure, and I'm ready. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's be about it. Because this is a podcast, and and everything about this podcast is right. Everything about this podcast I support, and I support you guys, and I just want to thank you guys for having me on this show. So let's do it.
Let's
Man,
get it.
Julien, we appreciate you, bro. So let's kick it off. Who is Julien Maynard? Tell us your story.
So who is Julien Maynard? I really grappled with this question for a little while,
Mm.
because if I am truly, giving y'all an honest answer and living in my truth, the honest answer right now is I really don't know. So I am, if I had to put a title on it, a man of God rising from the ashes. There's so much in my life that has occurred up until now, so many experiences that I had to learn from, so many L's that I had to take. Um, and I and when I say rising from the ashes, a life that I had to basically sacrifice to get to where I am right now. So I am rising from my failures. I am rising from, everything that happened between, I'd say age 21 and age 31. And I am, living this new life in Christ. I am living this new life that God has afforded me. And I'm rising from those ashes. We are, rising towards greatness. And that's who I am. I'm still discovering what that entails for real. I'm evolving into this person that God has ordained me to be. And I don't have all the answers. When God says follow him, you just follow him to where he's leading you. So as he's leading me and as he's showing me, I'm learning more and more about myself. But it's through what he's showing and what he's doing in my life. Um, so that's who I am. I am a follower of Christ, man of God, rising from what was and continuing towards, what is going to be.
Come on
That's
now.
so rich. That's
Mm.
so rich. I kept thinking about a phoenix the whole time. Yeah.
Yeah,
Man.
yeah,
hmm
exactly, exactly.
That's solid,
So
man. That's solid.
Yeah.
I'm gonna dig into that. I'm gonna give our audience a little bit of background. Julien, where are you from?
I am from, well, I was born in St. Thomas, USVI, but I was raised in West Palm Beach, Florida, like the real West Palm Beach, between 45th Street and 36th Street, Australian and Pinewood and Greenwood. That's the real West Palm
If
Beach.
you know, you
Not,
know.
I was
if
about to say,
you know,
I
right?
don't know, but that's okay.
I do know,
you
but
know,
yeah.
and I have to say it that way. I have to say it that way because when people say, "Oh, they're from Palm Beach," they're saying, most of them are saying from the aspect of I'm from Palm Beach County. Like I'm from, Wellington, I'm from Boynton, I'm from Delray. No, 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 no. When I say I'm from West Palm Beach, I mean, literally, I am from West Palm Beach.
Mm-hmm.
It might not be the most glamorous part of Palm Beach County, but that's where I'm from, and um, that's my foundation.
So, Julian, what do you do right now? I know you practice law, but
What
what
do
type?
I practice law, and I practice employment discrimination
Mm.
law, and I am firmly a plaintiff employment discrimination attorney, which means I am fighting for the little person. I am fighting for the marginalized person.
Right.
I am their voice against an employer or against a company that, and many times they don't know the right words or the right actions or the right things to do. All they know is that they've been fired or they have experienced some kind of retaliation or discrimination, whether it's based on their race, whether it's based on a disability, sex, gender, what have you. They have experienced something, traumatic in their lives, and all they can do is seek out some kind of legal remedy, some kind of legal justice. That is, it's more than a job just for me. Like it's
Sure.
literally a purpose. It's a calling, because just being where I'm from, and going and having gone through the experiences that I've gone through, and being in the rooms that I've been in, I know all too well, or just from a personal first person standpoint, what a lot, or what all of them, well, not all of them, what a lot of my clients are going through when they say, they've discriminated against me, they've done all of these horrible things, and then to boot, they fired me from my job. And at the end of the day, they're the ones, after them having done all of these things to me, they're the ones making me seem like I'm crazy.
Right.
And it's just like, I connect with that. I connect with that on a personal level. This is not me just doing the job, collecting the check day in, day out. This is me like, okay, you're living my story again and again and again and again and again. And it's just like, well, why would you want to do that? Why would you want to revisit that trauma every day, through someone else's story, right? But it is that same passion that I have, because I know what it's like to go through something like that and not know what to do, and not know how to act, and not know what outlet, like all of that frustration. Like I know what that is like. So that's the fuel that kind of that keeps me going. That's the fuel that will make my argument that much more stronger when I'm going up against opposing counsel. And it's just like, listen, you can say X, Y, Z, A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3, but at the end of the day, you can't put yourself in this person's shoes.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know exactly what they went through. And if you don't, let me give you a multidimensional picture of what it was for them.
Mm-hmm.
And and honestly, I'm new to the game. So a lot of these folks, they're just like, well, who is this guy like talking like he knows? I do know.
Exactly.
I do know. So that's what my career path is, and that's my purpose. And again, like God has built me for this profession.
Right. And I want to get into that a little bit. What is there a part of your upbringing or like anything specifically that you feel like really inspired you to go in this direction?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So it all started at Duke, right?
Or
It all started at Duke,
okay, T.
and
Uh-uh.
I'm
We ain't
just
doing none of
messing with
that.
him. You know I love him.
It's fine. It's fine. You know, don't get me wrong. Like, I love my and I have I have a very bipolar relationship with my alma mater, because I can tell you that I love Duke in one breath, and in that same breath,
Right.
I hate Duke. Like, it was one of the best experiences that I had overall, but it was also one of the most traumatic experiences that I had, you know, as an implant from West Palm Beach, Florida, you know, this somewhat middle class upbringing, and being dropped off into the institution that is Duke University, where not even the black students are like me. You know what I'm saying? Like,
What do you mean?
okay, so you're talking. Well, this is what I wanted to get into. You're talk. When I got to Duke, there was just the culture, right? I knew automatically that I just didn't fit in. Um, I knew that I was different. Um, it was something just built into the culture, the system. I was just like, something is not right here. Something is not.
What you mean?
Something is not right.
Talk though.
He said
Yeah.
something's just not
And
right here.
and you know, as an 18-year-old, I'm just kind of just like blinded by the lights, right? You
Okay.
know, it's just like, wow, I'm really here. Like, I don't, how did I even get here? You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right.
Like, thank God. But as soon as, you know, my first class, you know, I remember sitting in my first class and thinking, I think it was like an econ class. One, I'm the only black student in the class. Well, one of maybe
Like two or three.
three,
Right.
like two or three,
Mm-hmm.
right?
How many students were in the
It's like,
class?
huh?
How many students were in the class?
100.
Oh,
So
It
like
was
a lecture or like
it was an econ lecture. It was an econ lecture. It
uh-huh.
was an econ lecture, and then it broke down. Every econ lecture broke down into sections. And
Mm.
even in the section, I'm probably one of 10 students, one black, you know. So
mm-hmm.
I get into the class, and I know we're all trying to find our way, and you know, we're all here. But what I noticed immediately was there's something about these students, about the way, you know, the culture is set up. There's like a social custom
Mm-hmm.
that I don't know about.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That there's a language that, you know, a lot of these students, like even the black students, are speaking, that I did not learn as I was coming up. You
Right.
know, you know, how to act, or, you know, what, you know, just what to do in certain situations.
Mm-hmm.
And I became very aware very quickly that it was almost like a language. You know what I'm saying? Like, there was
Mhm.
that I wasn't fluent in.
It was a different culture, yeah.
Right.
It was a very, very, very different culture. And um, it was very, I found myself, my first year, like, it was very hard to exist there.
Mm.
Um, so me being me, it was just like, you know what? Well, I don't fit in, and I'm not going to fit in, and I'm going to revel in my not fitting in this.
Right.
And I just became this person, and it was just like, you know what? I don't give a damn. Excuse me. I don't care. Um, and that's and, and taking on that attitude and taking on this kind of rebellious person without a cause, it became like I became that person.
Right. You just became rebellious.
I just became rebellious. But a lot of the times people didn't, it was just on the outside it was just like, that's, like, who is this guy? This guy is like just high on himself. But if you would have asked me internally, like, what was going on, like, there were a lot of issues that I was experiencing. I'm a very, well, now I'm just a very, I'd say, confident person in with who I'm with who I am, and what I have to say. But that came with a lot of, like, I had to be put through the fire to be able to get here,
Right.
and to be able to assert myself, even in a room where people, think that I don't belong there, or that I'm a product of affirmative action, or I don't have anything meaningful to contribute, or it just sitting in one class in particular, I was afraid to speak, just
What?
afraid,
Why?
because it when I tell you that imposter syndrome hits so hard, that imposter syndrome hits so hard, and the way, and you don't, and I don't even know if it's something that they were doing consciously or that they knew that they were doing, but the way the students would look at you as if, like, did you even read? Like, what are you
Right.
talking about? Like that, your opinion is so far off, it's not even valid. Like, what, like, that is not, your opinion's just not even real. But it was real. My opinion was just very, very, very different from anything that you have ever experienced.
And that was culturally acceptable to them.
And that was culturally acceptable to them.
Right.
So you got to understand, like, when, like, Duke being top 10 school in the country, like, you're talking about students that are like the upper crust. You know what I'm saying? Like, all they know is all they know is all they know. And for a lot of them, that's being rich, and that's being privileged, and that is, just not having, not knowing what a day of adversity looks like in their entire life.
Having not a
If
care.
I'm being completely honest, and whether it's informed or uninformed, having their privilege work for them in such a way that they don't even, like, they can't even fathom what I'm talking about, because in their world it doesn't exist.
Right.
So when you have this, 18-year-old, you know highly intelligent but raw and unpolished person giving you firsthand experiences and giving you, something that is completely, diametrically opposed, and, maybe in your world offensive, it's just like, oh, no, 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 shut them down, shut them down, shut them down. We're going, no, this is, to the point where I just felt like, you know what, I'm not even going to say anything. Like, I'm not even going to say anything, because one, I I don't even know how to defend myself in this space right now. and the like I feel stupid. I don't feel qualified. And it's just like, how can how am I losing myself and losing everything that I've known about myself in this moment? But that's the thing where I go back and I go back and say, like, it was such an environment that, like, if you didn't know how to swim, you were gonna get swallowed up.
You just
Like,
drowned.
you were going
Mm-hmm.
to drown.
Mm-hmm.
You know, without, you know,
Right.
like, and no one for real was, in my opinion, would really come in to save you. Like, you gotta know how to swim. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
That
Like
was one of the first things
you
I noticed at PWI was that if you didn't click up, if you didn't find a clique of people that were similar to you, or if you weren't already versed on what he's talking about, understanding what's going on,
Mhm.
you were gonna drop like a rock fast
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
because there was so
Oh,
many
and I
things
did.
you wouldn't know. Would you
Because you
say?
It
described it like my whole experience being at my school. I'm at Carnegie Mellon, bro, for acting.
So you
And
speaking
and that's a whole different world from the engineering side of everything. And so I could just imagine. I've talked to T just about her journey in with law, but dog, like,
it's it's a
yeah,
real thing. It's a real
yeah,
thing. And um it started to become toxic after a while.
quick with
It started to become toxic, like seriously toxic, because we have to, like, this is so I was at Duke between 2000 fall 2005 and spring 2009. So this was at the beginning, like, Facebook is just becoming a thing, right?
Mhm.
Like, social media is just becoming a thing. uh President
I was gonna
Barack,
say that transition
you
to
know
presidential,
first
yeah.
exactly first elected Black president. My freshman year, the Duke lacrosse scandal, like I came into the Duke lacrosse scandal. Um,
I don't even know about
I
that.
was
I
gonna
need
say
to
for
Google
those who don't know
so,
what happened.
um, long story short, there was a party thrown off campus with the Duke lacrosse team, and there were some hired dancers there,
that. Mhm.
Oh,
and allegations of rape. Um,
all right,
and
Yeah, but I
Mo-
say you,
all right. Moving
that's
on to the
right,
Duke lacrosse
like,
scandal.
so
yeah.
so my freshman year, fall freshman year, you got that going on. You've got just this microcosm of, you have the Blacks, you have the whites, you have the Asians, you just have this little world, this little society, and self-segregation,
Mm.
and people are like, it's just, everything's just kind of out there in the open. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
Hmm.
but when it comes to, you, you know, and one thing, when it came to the Black community, you knew when the Black community was together. You knew when the Black community was, when we were congregating, or when we were just hanging out, because you never say to the white group, oh, they're self-segregating.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like, you never say that.
don't get me started
You
again.
never say that.
Mm.
We were just hanging out. It was like, we literally, we go to the same classes that you go to. We are involved in the same, activities, or whatever. Like, we're all here for upward mobility. We're all
Right.
here to get this good degree that, you know, that we signed up for. And in one way or another, we all have paid for this education in one way or another, whether it's been out of your pocket or out of someone else's pocket. But when it comes to the Black kids, oh, we're self-segregating. We're not trying to get out into the community. Like, first of all, why are you focused on what we're doing? And why are you making these sweeping and untrue generalizations? Because you see us hanging out? Like,
We don't say nothing about
what's
y'all.
the basis? You know what I'm saying? And again, I go back to, and I go back to, you never say this about, you know, the white kids or the Asian kids, and, you know, playing back up that rebellious character, like, it just made me mad. You know, it just really made me mad, and it made me rebel even more, because I was just like, you know, I'm not having it.
So what'd you do?
I wasn't trying to be I wasn't trying to be an activist. Like, I wasn't trying to, like, that was never my MO. You know, and I had a great time. You know, like, I partied a lot. You know, I was never the guy that you see here before you is not the guy that I was. Actually, the people that I went to college with, they saw a very, very different version of Julien Maynard, because everyone outside of those 4 years would say, "Oh yeah, he's a this, he's an academic, he's meant for something great." But what they saw was someone who I was fed up like almost all the time. And one night when I was a senior, everything just one like, I didn't lead. So one night when I was a senior, we were having a party, and, you know, we had a party. It was not my party. It was in my friend's apartment or whatever, but I was throwing the party, because I had just generated you know, I was about partying, you know what I'm saying? I was kind of like,
You was that guy on
let's be
campus.
wild, let's be.
I was about to say, like,
He was
hey,
that guy.
I
He
get
was
it.
that guy. We
I'll be that
understand.
guy
It was
too.
like,
I've been that girl.
like, I was there to have a good time. You know, like, I was just like,
Yeah.
you know what? These classes ain't it. Like, I actually found a copy of my transcript, and I was just going down memory lane, and I was just like, oh wow, I was really not on that time. Like, I was trying to have a good time.
He said,
And
I really wasn't on school time.
I wasn't I
Yo.
wasn't on school time, because I would go to these classes. Well, first of all, like, I couldn't decide a major. It was just like, because I came in wanting to do economics, and I was just like, nope, that's not going to work. Not economics. Then I thought, oh, let's try English. Oh, nope, not going to work. Psychology, nope. Public policy studies, nope, nope, nope. All notes, because political science, no. Until finally, my academic dean, she was a Black lady, Dean Lattimore, aka she pulled me in her office. I'm a sophomore. She pulled me in her office, and she looked at me, and it was like one of those mama looks, like, I'm gonna string you up, I'm gonna yoke you up,
Get your ish together.
Okay.
we got to get it together right now.
And do quickly.
and do it. And we're gonna do it, and we're literally gonna do it right now. So she looked at my transcript, and she's just like, you're gonna be, what do you like? It's either sociology or history. That's it. And I was like, let's do both. And she's like, we're gonna do both. If you can do both, we're gonna do both, and that's it. And that's and every time I got into trouble, she was there to just like, listen, I'm gonna hurt you now. Like, if you don't stop playing these games, like, but I wasn't playing, or at least I wasn't trying. Like, I just really was over the environment.
Understood. Oh, so you just went all the way away.
Like, there's this party happening at Duke University, like, let's slide. So from all of a sudden, it was like all of these Black people there having a great old time, right? So then the police show up. Then the police show up, and that's when everything kind of just went downhill. And I remember that night so vividly. Police are here. I'm a little tipsy. And they're shutting the party down. And I'm like, and I'm literally asking questions. Why are you shutting our party down? It's like, because we received a noise violation, da 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 da. And I'm looking across the way, and there's another party going. Like, there's literally another party happening across the way with white students. So I start pressing back on this officer. So I'm just like, so you're gonna come and shut down our party, but there's literally another, like you could point across the courtyard and you could see that they got red cups over there. They got the doors open, lights on, music playing. Like, because if you cut off our music, which our music was cut off, you could hear their music. So are you gonna go over there to shut them down the way you shutting us down? And the officer, like, who are, like, first of all, who are you to be talking to me like this? Like, I am an officer. And I'm just like, I don't care, because this is what y'all do. This is what y'all do. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Y'all always coming for us. And we're just having a good time. We're just having a good time. There are no problems here. And then in the midst of all of this, there's a party going on across the way. And what? Is it because there are, like, Black people here? Are there too many Black people here? Is that why you're shutting us down and not them? Because we're both guilty of the same thing. And I probably was a little bit more ignited that night, because I was definitely, if it weren't for my friends that night, like, I would have been arrested. I definitely would have been arrested, because the next morning when I woke up, I had to retrieve all of my things from the Duke police station. Like, they took everything, my ID, my keys, my wallet. They took everything from me. I had to pick it up from there. And sure enough, that Monday morning, I got a call from Judicial Affairs, and it was just like, You need to come down to my office immediately. Got a call from my dean, and it's just like, well, what happened? And I told the dean exactly, what had happened. And at the time, again, like, I was a figure on campus. I was vice president of the Black Student Alliance, and one of the co-directors of the Africana mentoring program. So it's not like I didn't have a platform. But I sure enough went into digital affairs, and they were charging me with certain infractions that were against Duke policy, and it was just like, listen, there's two ways. We're going to handle this two ways. Either you can apologize and go through these steps, XYZ, and I think I had to like write a paper, or it's going to be up to suspension. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know what gave them, or why they gave me the opportunity for the lesser, but it was that serious. I chose the paper. I was just like,
As you should.
Okay.
Okay.
Like, I understand.
Hey, I still gotta
You
get
know
his
what I'm saying?
degree.
Like, you know what? Like,
We're not
because
gonna stand on
again, like,
ceremony around here.
it was never my intention to be like this activist, or racial issues or whatever, but that was never my intention. That was never my goal. It was just me recognizing and always just not like, things here don't pass the smell test. And you don't want to hear that. You don't want to believe that. But in my opinion, they just don't.
So during your time at Duke, you went through your ups and downs and tribulations. What were some of the positive bright points? Like, what was something that kept you going?
Well, Duke is an amazing institution, and I met some of the the brightest, the just down to earth, just some of the greatest people that are doing great things. And we were all just in this bubble together. You know what I'm saying? Like, we were all just kind of just like figuring out together. And for me, like, outside of the politics and the just the institution itself, I just had such a great time, and just being there, and 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 just being a Duke student, like, being in a space that Black people, African Americans, were not allowed to be in, and just recognizing the privilege within that, and Duke basketball games, and LDOC, which was like last day of classes, which was like a thing. Like, Common came and performed at one of our, LDOC.
Wait a minute.
Like, yes, like,
Common at L
like,
Dog.
just
That's what I'm saying.
like,
At Duke?
like at Duke, my sophomore year, like,
Wow.
and it was just such a rich experience. And my good times definitely, definitely outweighed the bad times.
For sure.
And they had to, because
You
there were some
graduated.
serious, right? But the people that I met and the friendships that I had, and just, the things that I was learning socially, not so much educationally. Like educationally, I don't think that I gained that much, except for the brand.
Mm-hmm.
But socially, and things that you need to know, it was all there. And I definitely can say, from those experiences, I felt truly enriched. And there was also my dad saying, like, yo, you can't come home. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Straight
you
up.
chose this life. Like, you chose this life. You could have gone to any school in Florida that you wanted to, paid for, and they would have been paying you, but you wanted to go to Duke. So you're going to make it work at Duke. So there was ultimately this bar, like, yo, you, like, there's no looking back.
Mm-hmm.
So, but again, I say all of that to say, like, there were some serious, like, and that's where the love comes in, right? Because those people, like, those experiences live in my heart. And um I found a space at Duke.
So
Yeah,
here's a.
oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, Mike.
Oh no, you got it.
I was gonna say, you know what? Saying that and us starting out here, this kind of took the direction. This took the conversation in a different direction, but this is the perfect conversation to ask this question. So, you went to Duke for your undergraduate degree, and you went to FAMU for
Mm-hmm.
your law degree.
Mm-hmm.
When you're out in the world, when you were looking for jobs, do you think they paid more attention to your historically Black college or your PWI when they looked at your resume?
Oh, my PWI, absolutely,
Mm.
absolutely, without a doubt. It's like it, and it bothers me so much, right? And I'm gonna tell you why. Obviously, I'm gonna tell you why. Because first of all, I'm applying for a legal position, right?
Mm.
The only reason I am qualified for this legal position is because of that degree right there, like the big one on the wall,
From
not
the
not the
Black
small
college.
one,
From the Black
from the
college.
Black college, right?
Mm.
The one that's in the center.
Right, let it
You
be
know what I'm
known.
saying? Like,
Let it be known.
in 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 my opinion, the one that's most important to me. I don't care what the rest of the world has to say, or I don't care, if it wasn't a top 10 school like Duke was, or if, like, I don't care about any of those things, because for me, FAMU College of Law was FAMU provided me something, like, it built me up in a way that, like, in comparison, there was no building at Duke. There was
Bro, what the
about the profession, and what it's going to be like as a Black man in this profession, and how
Mm.
you need to, and you're at a different level, and you need to be cognizant you need to be cognizant of that at every second of the day. And to not feel like I'm a number. You know what I'm saying? To actually feel that sense of, okay, like I know I can call on Professor so and so, or I can go see Professor so and so, and they're gonna have like they're gonna say it to me in a way that, one, I'll accept this from you, I'll receive this from you in a way that I would not have received it from someone else. Right. And you can even say it to me all crazy, like how you're saying it to me, and I'm still going to receive that and benefit from it in a way that no one else can tell. Mm-hmm. And all of that came from FAMU. You know what I'm saying? Like all of it came from FAMU. Yeah, that awkward moment in the interviews where it's just like, oh, Duke, that's a great school. Yeah, but FAMU is an excellent school too.
Yep.
And but for my law degree, which comes from Florida A&M, like I wouldn't be here. So I don't know. Like Duke was a great. It was a great time. Sometimes, but
sometimes.
But let's talk about what's really real. And I am an attorney, from FAMU. Period.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking too, just for the simple fact that a lot of your professors definitely saw something in you, but also saw you and where you were at,
right?
And wanted to pour into you also. And
right.
So then that, because of that pouring into you, that automatically made you invested.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So
absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely. It's just like, you know what? I'm going to take this guy under my wing.
Yeah.
I am going, like, Professor Brown, torts. Lord, I did not like torts. Like I got, candidly, I got a C in torts. But
yeah, class torts.
Yeah, basically personal injury. Basically, that's what it is.
Trip on the sidewalk, accident.
So
all that
yeah, all of your slip and falls and all of that. I did not do well in that class. I got a C. But my professor, Jeffrey Brown, he again, like he kind of just like scooped me up under his wing, like because I went, when the grades came out, I was just like, but sir, like, but sir, like,
but sir,
like, like,
hey, 1 second. Yeah. 1 second at a time, please. Thank you.
You're killing me, right? You don't understand. Like, you're killing me. And right, and you're killing my GPA, bro. And he was like, do you have your essay, or your exam? Because the last exam was all essay. It was horrible. Like it was it was
horrible.
As I go, Lola.
So I pull out the essay and he starts reading the essay, and he's just like, oh yeah, I remember reading this essay. I remember being impressed by the writing skill of this essay, but you just weren't quite there yet. And I was just like, well, what do you mean? He's just like, well, you gotta be like, you're saying it, but again, law school is on a curve. Your classmates are saying it with particularity.
Verbatim.
So verbatim, right? They're like quoting the rule. Like you can't, you gotta be like up and stuck. Like you can't just like
say it generally,
like,
yeah.
Exactly. Like you gotta prove that you know it because he was one of those professors that, you know, there aren't going to be assignments along the way, you know, like to help balance out your grade. Like this one exam is it. But he was just like, you know what, you're you're a good writer, and I want to help you cultivate that. So he took me on as his research associate, and I was just like, aren't these positions, you know, for students that got like the top grade in the class or whatever? He was just like, yes, but you can do this, and I want you to. So I did. I was like, and it was great, and it was hard, and sometimes I was just like, well, why do you have me doing this? But at the end of the day, it was all worth it.
I think I remember when you were his research assistant because I was writing a paper with him that semester.
Yeah, because I would come into office hours right after you.
Yep. Okay.
And
Yeah, I remember that.
and you know, I was tired, I was stressed out. Um, be but again, it's just one of those pivotal moments where you realize that you have allies in these professors. You know, like they've been where we are, or where I was at the time, and you know, they came up at a time where it was tougher than it is right now. So it was that kind of nurturing and grooming that was necessary, that I received at Florida A&M. And I don't, you know, I don't want to hear anything else, anything else to the contrary, because I'm like literally ready to, like, I'm really literally ready to go at it. Like, I'm literally ready to go at it because in my mind, you're just not going to tell me. You're not going to tell me anything different. Um, you're not going to convince me any way different, because you know, I know what the other side has. Like, I know what's on the other side of that fence. Like, for real, for real. So you're not going to tell me anything different.
What's something that you feel like your professors have like given you that you keep kind of like in the back of your mind as you still practice to this day?
Um, just that legacy.
Mm-hmm.
Just that, like, continuing legacy. Like, you are a part of, one, the profession of law is I don't even know how to say this. So I'm just going to keep it, you know, statistical. Like, Black attorneys make up 4.8% of the profession.
Period.
4.8% of the
What?
profession.
Oh, you
In
never heard
the
that number?
United
No.
States, like in
What?
the United States,
Of these
4
Americas.
huh,
Of these Americas.
of these Americas. Exactly.
That's crazy. It not even
And
five.
it's like,
Dang, that's crazy.
you not only do you need to, you know, not only do you need to be a great attorney, but you need to be a great attorney, because there's literally only like a handful of us that's out here. You know what I'm saying? Like you are a part of a career. Like, we weren't allowed to do this,
Right.
and you need to respect that.
You really start to see how small the percentage is once you step outside of an HBCU. Once you get out that school,
Oh yeah.
you're like, oh, okay. Um,
A,
go ahead.
I'll say this: the first time I felt that way was at the Tampa Bar Convention Center. Like, I was just like, whoa, just like, when you see the rows of students and it's just like, oh, this is everybody.
Mm.
Like, there's one black person. There's two
Right,
black people.
right.
There's three. Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
So, whew, that was heavy.
Man, nah, yeah, I gotta
That
let
was
that sit for
heavy.
a second. I'm like, oh,
Listen, I
Julie,
told
you
you I
done took
came
us in
ready
a
to
direct.
talk, right?
You done took us in
Listen,
a direction where you didn't know we was going.
listen. I've been just marinating on, when I tell you, like, it's literally my pleasure to be on y'all's podcast today. Like, I've been marinating on, like, what do I say? Like, what are we going to talk about? Because so much of this is my actual, like, so, like, this is my testimony, like,
Yeah.
this is in a lot of ways very therapeutic, because again, I've never had an opportunity to explain, like, well, what was he going through? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
like, everyone just, or a lot of people just know me as, as this person. Like, they just like, hey, that's just kind of the way he moves. That's just kind of how he is. Very, 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 very few people know, like, okay, well, what's going on behind the scenes
right.
that's making him act like this. Like, that's making him just have these, what you would think would be an erratic explosion, but really is something that has been built up over time. And it, like, I'm just now
Addressing
just
it.
over it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ready to explode on him.
Over it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna tell you, and I'm over it completely.
Yeah.
So this platform, when I tell you, I've, to the point where it's just like, oh, do I want to write, do I want to write what's going, like, what I want to say? But I didn't want to be that scripted, right? Like, I didn't want, because again, I didn't know where we were going to go with the conversation, or how we were going to get here. But yeah, like, this was, again, I thank you guys. Like,
Hey, thank you.
I thank y'all, you know, for being here.
Man, the guests are the center, so we
You know what I'm
appreciate you.
saying? And also, like, to that, like, in overcoming all of the things that you've overcome and are still overcoming, like, how are you overcoming everything?
Um, and T can attest, a lot of God,
Amen.
Okay, hallelujah.
a lot, a lot of God.
Yeah.
I was baptized in 2014. And then I was baptized again in 2019, because I needed a second helping, like,
You need a
it
refresh.
Hey,
was,
listen,
I needed a
hey,
refresh.
you need a refill.
Like, it because one, mental health is so taboo in our community,
Talk about
right?
it. Yeah.
Okay.
And but it's a real thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you can go to the doctor for, a broken leg, or, heart issues or whatever, like, why would you think that it's even appropriate to not consider your mental health? Like, it's literally, like, do you know what it's like to be trapped in your brain?
You know what? I've thought about this many times, because I know in the Black and brown community, we have like a real weird relationship with mental health.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
But when I step back, I always start to think about the origin of things, right? You sit back and think about black and brown people on the plantation.
Thank you.
A, wasn't no therapist, and
Right.
not for us. And B, even if there were, would you even want the clarity of mind in those type of circumstances? Like, would you really want that? Like, no, you would much
Yeah.
rather just pray to God and just get through the day. But
Pray
as
to God
we,
and push. Right.
yeah, but I know now that we've evolved as people, we need that. But I understand where it comes from, you know?
Oh yeah, I
Sure.
definitely understand. And even today in today's climate, it's like there's still that need to overcome.
Yes, absolutely.
It doesn't look anything like how our grandparents or our great grandparents or our great great grandparents, it doesn't look anything like that, thank God.
But it's still
Um,
systemic,
but
Yeah.
it's
grained.
there still, right?
Oh
It's
yeah,
there.
for sure, for sure.
Like the spirit of it is still there, but it just exists in different it just exists in different forms. And that's when I say, like, when I got to Duke, and I hate to go back to Duke, but when I got to Duke, there was this culture microaggression. Like, I know the proper term now is,
Hmm.
like, there was this culture that was in, like, my soul didn't accept it. It was just like my spirit is
Mm-hmm.
not accepting this. And
Hmm.
I don't know why,
Because yeah,
but my spirit is telling me, like, yo, something ain't right.
Yep. Yeah. That,
always.
And it, and low key, like, again, where I grew up, how I grew up in a Black community. You know what I'm saying? I grew up in the hood in a West Palm. So dealing, like, I just didn't see that. Like, I didn't live that. I didn't know how to deal with that. So you take again, like, this raw, unexposed individual that's very, very conscious, very self-aware. Like, I've always been very, very self-aware. And you place him in an environment like that, and it's just like, whoa, this energy is different.
mm,
But people know how to exist in it.
hmm.
And people know how to, like flex in it. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? And it's just like, well, what that person just said was like really inappropriate. How did you know? Like, how did you even know how to
Deflect
say
that.
that?
Hmm.
You know, like, how did you, like, what even happened right there?
You'd be
Hmm.
surprised. You should be looking like you're watching a
No,
movie.
You're like, huh?
like,
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 I'm
like,
learning.
I spent so much time just being
Yeah.
so trying to look like I knew what was going on, but not knowing what was going on. Like, one night, I'll never forget this. One night, I came in, I was a freshman, and I was just plastered. Like, unfortunately, I'm sorry. Like, I was
And
not
that's so
in,
true.
I was, I was, I was not in the best form. Again, J May strikes again. That's what they used to call me, J May. He was literally my alter ego.
Mayhem.
J May.
Mayhem.
You call
Like,
me
yeah.
Mayhem.
Mayhem.
Like,
Mayhem.
no, like, I had, like, a literal, it's just like, oh, that's not Julian, that's J May. He's out. He's out.
Hey man, that's real
So
though.
I came back to coming back from wherever we were coming back from, being loud, being reckless, and um, not even the boys were on the second floor, and the ladies were on the first floor. The RA from the first floor, she was a junior at the time. Her name was Lauren. She took me under her wing, and she came into my room, like she burst into my room, and she is just like, Julian, your actions are so above reproach right now. It's not tolerable. And I was just like, wait, what did you like run that back? Above reproach.
What?
Bro, I feel you.
Like I had no idea what she meant in that moment, but I felt every word. Like I felt every bit of just disappointed, angry, just you need to get it together.
Right.
But she did it so above reproach. No one had ever spoken to me like that before. Like, and no one since has ever spoken to me like that.
It's not everyday language.
Yeah, above reproach. That sound like a movie.
It sounds like a little bit of Shakespeare.
When I tell you it blew my mind. It blew my mind. I was just like it was an immediate like, okay, straighten up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because when I tell you I felt her. Like I felt her. I was just like, okay, I'm gonna go to sleep now.
Yeah.
But again, there was a code.
Mm. So how would you say those experiences have changed you?
I am one, I know better now.
Of course.
That's one, I know better. And when you know better, you do better. Or you at least keep attempting to make every day better than the last day.
Right.
And two, it was all, I can't be mad about anything that I experienced, right? Because if my little bit of like my micro piece of dealing with racial tension and institutions and under the table prejudice, if my one little microchip can make me act and just cause me to explode in such a way, can you imagine what the riots were like? Can you imagine what the Jim Crow era was like? Can you imagine what slavery was like? I would have been hanged. I would I listen. God knew what he was doing. And I find it just more revealing that I do employment law and that I am fueled by employment law, discrimination law. Because Title VII, the Civil Rights Act of 1964,
all right,
was passed on my birthday. Like,
all right,
now. Like, July 2nd, 1964.
Oh, you a Cancer?
Cancer? Right. I was gonna say.
Hey. Are we all Cancer? Yeah, I was just like, so when I learned this, I don't believe in coincidences.
Right.
I don't believe in coincidences. I don't believe things just happen, just to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Title VII is one, like that's like, as I look at my case list, that's like 70% of the cases that I handle. They're with the EEOC, with the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. They're in effect because of Title VII, the Civil Rights Act.
Mm-hmm.
I am literally able to do what I do because of the Civil Rights Act and fighting for and going after companies that, they just do discriminatory things. And you got to remember, it's, yes, there's a company, there's an entity, but people make up the company. You know what I'm saying? Like, and as a company, you're responsible for your employers and you're responsible for their actions. And
To it.
as an agent of the company, if your supervisor, if your team lead does something discriminatory, therefore, you as the company are responsible.
Right.
Period.
Right.
And all day, like we in 1964, like this was just when it was passed, like it was just a piece of paper. Like it was, you got to remember, like in 1964, people are still being slain in like,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? Like, police. I mean, it's still happening now, but like 1964, there is literally a riot in Harlem. Harlem was on fire. Harlem was on fire. So to a lot of people in that time and in that space, there, the Civil Rights Act, like this is just a piece of paper. This is just a piece of paper. However, now, we can march and we can have the protests and we can have the sit-ins and we could do all of those things. But what is going to hit a company? Like, I don't want your apology. I don't want your apology. What's going to affect a company more in 2023 is their bottom line.
That check. That
Feel
check.
Me? Like,
mm-hmm.
So save your apology if you want to extend one, that is great. But the time for that is over. Cut the check. You feel me? Like, cut the check. Like, cut the check. Because not for nothing, that's the only thing that companies understand is when profits are being eaten into.
Yes.
Like, so I'm coming at, like, in a sense, yes, I'm coming after your bottom line. Like, I'm coming after you where it hurts, because you or certain members of your company that you continue to employ don't understand the ramifications of their actions. So you are going to be held accountable. Like, somebody's got to be held accountable.
Thank you.
And
let me slide in there for you, Julien.
Yeah.
Because I know that you basically fight for the plaintiff now, which is usually the smaller person.
Right.
But you used to fight for the big guy.
I did.
How was that, and how was your transition?
Oh boy. Oh my gosh.
You knew this question was coming.
That's how you know it's going to be something. He said, "Oh my gosh."
He got anxiety. He's like, "Oh,
oh my gosh."
I'm not going to throw nobody's name out there because
understood.
You with a podcast, you definitely don't know, who your audience or who. So I'm not going to slander anybody right now. Oh, but it wouldn't be slander. You know what I'm saying? Like, it would be straight facts.
You don't have to mention any names, but just how was your experience?
It was the slander for me.
Right. But I can still hear my supervisor's voice in the back of my head, it's abundantly clear you didn't proofread this. It's abundantly clear that you haven't gone over these cases. It's abundant. It's abundantly clear. It's abundantly clear. It's abundantly clear that, like, there was one time we were in her office. And by we, me, HR, and her. And she was just reading me my rights, because I didn't pass the bar the first time. So, when I was hired or whenever, the expectation, like, and just some backstory, like, I graduated cum laude, president of the class and everything. So when I went to take the bar, the idea that I was going to fail the bar never entered my mind.
Mm.
And it never entered my employer's mind. When they hired me, it was just like, okay, well, you're like this, we're just waiting for the results to come through, and you're going to get bumped from law clerk to attorney, once you get sworn in. But them results came in, and they were not the results I was like. They just were not those results. And I feel like after that moment, you're on this incline, and the ride was over, like, immediately. And instead of, getting to the top, like, it just kind of just like took this like crazy turn. And all of a sudden, I was on her hit list.
Mm-hmm.
I was on her hit list.
Now let me pause you in this, because I got a question for this part of the story.
Yeah.
What was the atmosphere in the office like before, then after you didn't pass?
I hate to say it, but like, I came, like, before, I was favored.
Mm.
Like, I like before everything kind of hit, and you gotta realize again where you are.
Yeah.
And you're dealing with some of the best attorneys, and they make a lot of money. Like, they make a lot of money, and you know what I'm saying? And there's no time really, there's really no time to babysit. And it's another situation where if you're not going to swim, like, I'm not going to save you again. But this time, we're not in a college setting. We're not in a law school setting. We're out in real life.
Right.
We're dealing with real cases. We're dealing with people and their licenses. We're dealing with, not messing up a case and not being sued for malpractice. We're dealing with the law. So I am not on that BS. And I understand that. Like, because right now where I'm sitting, I am not on that BS. I do not have time for that BS. I am not inviting that kind of BS in my space. However, you always need to be cognizant of how you treat people. You know what I'm saying? Like, you always need to be cognizant of how you treat people. And I know, like, I know that it's so easy to get caught up in whatever you have going on that you might have a moment and you forget. And I understand that there's grace for that. But dealing with this supervisor, it crossed that line of just having a few bad moments.
Right.
It crossed into that line like, I'm feeling the way. I'm really feeling the way, and you really showing your cards, and I'm not liking how I'm feeling.
Right.
I'm not liking how you're talking to me.
Right.
I'm not liking that in this last conversation that we just had, you had to not only break it down how I am just a law clerk, you are a law clerk. Again, like, you are a law clerk. You are not an attorney. Like, wait, you ain't even like I was there when I got my results. You don't have to listen. You don't even have to do that.
Right. Nick.
Yes.
And they're gonna talk to that person nice.
Oh,
With the
yes.
sweetness, like, oh, you're not a law.
Yes.
Cut it.
Because and I'm gonna tell you, and I'm gonna tell you when I caught on to the fact that I was being bamboozled and that I was being, in my opinion, sabotage. So I reported. I had a number of cases. Let's say 25.
Right.
No mentor, no like like no help, right?
Yep.
And then what we call in employment discrimination law, my comparator, my and I have nothing against him. You know what I'm saying? Like he for all intents and purposes, he's just the comparator. He's the white male that also didn't pass the bar. So we were in the same boat.
Right.
So I have 25 cases that I'm losing my mind over, and he has 12 cases. 6 of his cases are being handled. He's being mentored with a senior associate,
Which makes sense.
which is how you're supposed to do it.
Which makes sense.
So so that there's a buffer in between you and the partner, and once it even gets to the partner, it's so refined that, you know what I'm saying? But for me, it was just like, you're struggling across the board, which was another favorite phrase. You're struggling across the board. You turn in things, and it's just like,
I don't have help.
I don't have, like,
I'm learning on my own.
Like, I'm working
Open
on
your
my
eyes.
and I just learned that my comparator, he's got all the help and half the workload.
So he can actually learn.
How is that equitable?
That's heavy what you just said too, T. So you can actually learn.
Yeah, so you can actually learn.
Right.
That's how it'll be set up for you to overload you with all this stuff, give you no help, and then tell you that you're inadequate. But you only have the proper tools from the beginning.
And then make me feel like, whoa, do I even belong here?
Exactly.
Like, Like, do I dang.
Make you fall off so that they don't have to worry about it.
Right. I'm like, and it just got to a point,
Crazy, man.
the point where it got so bad between us. It got so bad. The day I got my bar results, I had a meeting that was scheduled. We got the bar results on a Monday. I had a meeting that was scheduled, like a case meeting. It wasn't a serious meeting. Had a meeting that was scheduled for Friday. That meeting was moved to that Monday. I was not prepared for this meeting because it's been on my calendar Friday. She gets in and she starts laying into me again, laying into me again. And I got up. I got up, and I don't know what got into me that way. Like, and was I wrong? Yeah. Did I handle it wrong? Like, yeah. But I got up from my seat and I was just like, listen, I passed the bar today. You didn't even tell me congratulations.
Straight up.
And I'm not doing this with you today. I walked out of her office.
It's like that.
I walked out of her office, and I went back to my office, and I closed the door, and I was just like, what the heck did I just do? But
I ain't doing this
after I got a hold of myself, I was like, God, it's above me.
It's above me.
It's above me. Because you done watched for the last 7 months everything that has gone on here.
Right.
And if that's the end, that's the end.
So how did things go after that?
Well, that day when I got my results, I had seen a post at the Leach firm for an employment discrimination attorney position. And they were looking for someone. I had seen it sometime in April is when the post went out. No, sometime in March is when the post went out. I think it was March 6th, to be honest. So I had seen the post and I was just like, I'm going to apply. And I remember telling one of my coworkers, like, I'm going to apply. But then I was just like, you know what? No, because I don't want to apply and then not have things work out like the way things happen here. Right? And then be up a creek. So I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait until the results come out, and then I'm going to shoot them off. So the weekend, the results, the weekend before that Monday, I got my cover letter, I got my resume, transcript, writing sample, so crispy. It's like, listen, I got one shot and I gotta get out of here.
Yeah.
I gotta get out of here.
That's the scramble.
It's not working.
Okay.
Like it's not, this is not working, and I can't do this. And like 10 minutes after I had my moment, I shot it off to Carlos Leach. 2 days later, couple days later, he called me. Like, I got a call for an interview. 2 days after that, I interviewed with him. 2 days after that, like, I interviewed with Anthony Hall, right? And
you was on your way out the building at that point.
It was just like, and I remember asking Anthony, I was just like, so when do I start? Like at the end of like, so when do I start? Like, because I can do this.
Right.
like I can do employment discrimination law. Like I can do this. When do I start? And he was just like,
Mm-hmm.
well, I'll talk it over and we'll call you back.
Mm.
And then April 21st, I got the call, and April 22nd, I put in my 2 weeks. So from April 11th is when we got the results. I was out April 22nd.
Wow.
I was out. I was just like,
Wow.
God,
Gotta go.
here we
That's
go.
nothing but a move of God, though.
Yeah.
It
Days.
was because when I
Wow.
saw it, when I saw the job post, it was just like, God, I know this job is mine.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
I
That's a word.
know this job is employment discrimination. I know this job is mine. I know it is. So I'm not like, I'm just going to pray on it. I took a screenshot of it. I'm gonna just pray on it, hold it, just hold this for me. And I promise you, I'm gonna apply.
Mm.
So do you,
And this week will be 10 months.
Wow. Congratulations.
Thank you, thank you, thank you,
Of
thank you,
course.
thank you.
so I know you did. I know you're a tad bit, Julian, and I know you're a social
Yeah,
justice warrior to your heart.
As you
yeah,
should be.
Do you
yeah.
feel like your position now is tied more into social justice and more in alignment with who you are?
Oh, absolutely.
Mm,
Absolutely.
yeah.
That it's without a doubt. Like I started on the path of becoming an attorney. Shout out to Palm Beach Lakes pre-law magnet when I was shout out when I was 14. Um, and I became barred when I was 34. So that's 20, like, and I consider everything, like even the years in retail when I was just like, why God, why you have me here? Why why God, like why you do it? Like, why God, Jesus, like, why am I so broke right now? Jesus, like, why did I have to,
Man.
like, like, why did I
Wow.
literally have to lose my marbles, God? Like, why did I have to lose my marbles? Why did I have to go through this?
Yeah.
And it's just like 20 years, 20 years of just preparation,
For this moment.
and
Mm,
and again, like, just to, bring it all back full circle, rising from the ashes, like 20 years of just preparation, of stumbling, of just being in the dark and finding God and finding God again. You know what I'm saying? Like, and finding God again, because right now in this season, it's like God is just the focal point, to the point where I can't be out. Like I can't be out on the scene. Like I can't, like I cannot. I have to hear from him.
mm,
I have to be like actively seeking him,
right.
because he put me on this path. And that life is that those dreams of being a corporate attorney, with a boat and you know, mergers and acquisitions that I thought I was, that's not my life.
Well,
Not saying that I'm not gonna have a boat. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Not saying that.
but
But
I'm not saying I ain't gonna have a vote. I just ain't gonna
I
get
Okay.
vote
mean,
that way.
That's coming.
you know what I'm saying? But this is my fight.
Mm.
Yeah. Come on
You
now.
know,
Yeah,
this
man.
is this is my fight. Like,
It's my fight.
even when God said no to Stetson, like, because at one point I was diehard, let's go to Stetson. But God said, no, you're going to FAM.
Hold up, let me pause.
So
For those that don't know,
yeah.
Stetson is one of the top law schools in the state of Florida. But go ahead.
So God said, yeah, you got in, and congratulations, whoop de woo. But
It's not
but
where you're
Whoop-de-woo,
going, sir.
but
that's
guess
not
what?
where you're going, player. That's that's
Right.
that's 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 not where you're going, player. Like, you're gonna go to fam. Like, you are a rattler for justice.
Yeah.
And in a few minutes, to God, because it took me, years. In a few minutes, I'm gonna tell you what that really means. You
Yeah.
are a rattler for justice,
Yeah.
and your purpose is justice,
Mm.
and that is, that's it.
Mm.
The
So on
only
this
thing,
path,
go ahead. Oh, I was gonna say the only thing I wish the fam had explained with a little bit better, because there was a heavy emphasis on criminal justice, was that there are a bunch of different ways for justice.
Right, right.
Like a
Because
bunch.
I didn't know anything about employment discrimination.
Right.
I didn't. It was like, and that's not like, because I know Professor Reeves teaches employment discrimination, like, but like you said, the emphasis is so heavy on criminal justice or
Mm-hmm.
working for the, you know what I'm saying? It's like, well, what about those of us that don't necessarily want to do that?
right, right.
Yeah. How can
Like,
we
there's
serve?
not as
Yeah.
like the theme is criminal justice, and
Mm-hmm.
so, you know what I'm saying? Regardless of whether there's one class devoted to, every other semester devoted to employment discrimination that you may be able to take if it works into your schedule,
Mm-hmm.
the theme of the school, and that's a whole different conversation in itself, is criminal justice.
Right.
I agree.
So on this path that you're on, what do you feel like is the like a major goal for you?
Ooh. Um,
Whether it comes to your career or personal, or if it's tied together, like,
I think I know that I'm going to be an attorney for a while, but in the grand scheme of things, I'm always going to maintain my license, right? Because I do want to hit that 50-year mark. But in the grand scheme of things, as far as litigating, I feel like, I'm here for a good time, not a long time. Um,
You're like the third person that has
like,
said that.
Yes.
like, I feel like,
Mm.
again, there's gotta be continued evolution. There's gotta be continued growth.
Amen.
And God is going to ultimately use me, um, based on these experiences, to do something else. Um,
Come on, talk about it.
to
Mhm.
and again, I don't know if that is in a political sphere. I don't know if that is in, some kind of activist sphere. Or it could be some kind of mixture of both.
Yeah.
But this is definitely the breeding ground. You know what I'm saying? Like, the where this is definitely where all of those ashes, where the pressure is put on to become a diamond. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what
Yeah,
I'm
you
saying?
put a
Like, this
pressure
is,
cooker. Yeah.
you got to put that pressure, and I can feel that pressure.
Mhm.
I can feel that pressure, and
Being molded.
I
Come on now.
I feel like I'm receiving a great education here. Um, Anthony Hall he's a titan. He is a titan in the industry, and he's the only person that can deal with everything that I have going on right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, because it's like I've been through a lot.
Right.
And I've lived several lives. Several, like, just in several different spaces, and I am, in a short amount of time, I feel like I've been doing this for years already.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So with him, I think next year is his 30th year practicing employment discrimination. Like, right, like he's kind of the person where it's just like, all right, okay,